A 5-cylinder diesel engine in an attractive bucky? This is going to be a good one, right? Hi guys, Eric here and welcome back to my channel. Today we will be having a look at this 2017 Ford Ranger 3.2 TDCi XLT Auto. It has beautiful looks and a great looking interior, but wait, there's more. Would you like to be mentioned in my next video? All you have to do is to make sure that you're subscribed to my channel and tell me what car this wheel design belongs to using the comment section below. Be sure to identify both the make and model. Let's see who knows most about cars. A really big thank you to the accommodating, thoughtful and helpful staff here at ASJ Motors. They have a huge selection of quality used cars located in 2 locations in the Overberg region. One is in the industrial area of Hermanus, the other is located on the main road of Verliersdorp. They are open for business, so be sure to check out their catalogue, link in the description box below. The first generation Ranger was released all the way back in 1998. Interestingly, it was merely a rebadged Mazda B series. Power came from either a 2.6-litre petrol engine which produced 92 kilowatt, a 2.5-litre naturally aspirated diesel engine that produced a low 60 kilowatt, or the same diesel engine with a turbo bolted onto it, which increased power to 84 kilowatt and 280 newton meters of torque. In 2002, it received a facelift with a new, more modern front fascia, as well as a 4-litre V6 version that produced 154 kilowatt. This engine model was also made more comfortable than its 4-cylinder counterparts. In 2006, the second generation was released. But don't be fooled, it was actually just a thoroughly reworked version of its predecessor. Petrol engines were dropped, with Ford instead offering 2 4-cylinder turbo diesel versions, a 2.5 which produced 105 kilowatt and 330 newton meters of torque, and a 3-litre which developed 115 kilowatt and 380. The third generation of the Ranger was unveiled in 2011. This time around, it was all new and designed as well as engineered in Australia. It was available with a host of petrol and diesel engines, with a brand new 3.2-litre 5-cylinder turbo diesel being the most powerful. It produced a mighty 147 kilowatt and 417 newton meters of torque, quite a bit more powerful than its rivals of the time. This is the facelift of the third generation that was released in 2015. It was with this iteration where I personally took notice of the Ranger. Prior to that, I've always been an Isuzu/Mazda bucky lover, but this bucky looks exceptional. It is so rare that manufacturers get the proportions right on buckies, but with this trim in double cab form, it looks great. I love the mean looking headlights and the admittedly rather garish looking grille, but hey, people buy buckies as status symbols, at least here in South Africa, and it doesn't get much more flashy than this. In profile, it doesn't look much different to other buckies, with the exception of this faux vent in front of the doors. The rear looks boyish and attractive, with big lettering taking up most of the lower part of the loading door. This particular model is fitted with the aforementioned 3.2-litre 5-cylinder diesel engine. That alone makes it stand out from the crowd, and if you know anything about me, you'd know that I love 5-cylinder engines. But all that glitters isn't gold. We will get back to that though. For now, let's have a look inside. Step inside the Ranger and you're greeted with a very modern, well thought out and familiar interior. This is because it is almost identical to that of the Everest I reviewed a while ago. The general design is very welcoming and airy thanks to light grey plastics as opposed to dark grey or black plastic trim you find in some of its rivals. The technology in here is extremely impressive too. That is, if you ignore the Sync 2 infotainment system's interface. Build quality is very good, if not quite class leading, Amarok, but fit and finish is extremely impressive for this class of vehicle. There are some neat upmarket touches in here as well, like the silver air vent surrounds, the silver plastics, as well as a leather wrapped door armrest. Use of materials could be a bit better though. It's not that it is worse than its rivals, it's just that silver painted plastics tend to deteriorate over age, whereas metal trim ages more gracefully. Let's take a closer look though, starting with the door panel. Well, there is quite a lot to like about this door card. It looks simplistic without being too dull, and the door pockets are huge. A leather wrapped door armrest and pleather trim piece add to the upmarket feel. Ford does try to fool you though with its door handle. This attractive metallic finish is actually plastic, wrapped around more plastic. This does look better than unpainted or painted plastic though, so I can definitely forgive it for that. What's more, the doors feel heavy in all the right ways and close with a very reassuring thud. Not bad. The steering wheel, much like the rest of the cabin, is a mixture of upmarket touches and cost-saving aspects. It is very well balanced though. The silver trim is painted plastic, but its rim is wrapped in soft leather, and the buttons feel really premium to the touch. Speaking of which, the myriad of button clusters on here might look a bit intimidating, but as we will soon see, it could not be simpler to operate. Sadly though, much like the Everest I reviewed earlier, the steering column is only adjustable for rake and not reach, limiting driving comfort. The stalks are really funky and interesting, yet at the same time they are easy to understand and feel premium to use. I really like them. The dials are an excellent piece of kit. It is a mixture of analog and digital, and I am really happy to report that the marriage is a good one. In the center you have an analog speedometer with attractive blue needle. Below that there is an analog representation of what gear you are in. The interesting part comes in the form of two full color drives information displays that are placed on either side of the analog dial. Not only is the graphics really attractive, it is also extremely well equipped. Vehicle settings, audio information, service information, driving aid information, a full trip computer, as well as a digital water temperature and fuel gauge. The best part comes in the way that you configure these screens though. The left button cluster on the steering wheel controls the left screen, and the same goes for the one to the right. It is ingenious. I really like the setup. I wish I could say the same about Ford's Sync 2 infotainment system though. The graphics is really good, especially for the car's age, but it is quite sluggish to load different menus, it isn't that responsive to my touch, and the layout is quite confusing at first glance. It comes really well equipped though. SD card slot, USB input, auxiliary port, and Bluetooth audio all come as standard. The standard fit sound system packs a surprisingly decent punch as well. The climate controls are quite interesting in that there aren't any dials to control the fan speed or the temperature. Instead, you have a myriad of buttons that are similar in size and shape, meaning that you can't feel your way through the system. You have to take your eyes off the road to make sure you hit the right button. This isn't exactly ideal. I've always preferred a mixture of dials and buttons. The gear lever reminds me a lot of older BMW models, both in color and in shape. This one doesn't feel quite as premium as those in the Germans, but this is a Bucky after all, so again, I can definitely forgive it for that. The seats are wrapped in leather and they are surprisingly comfortable. They are a bit on the firm side, but they provide good lower back support. The driver's seat is adjustable for height as well, aiding a comfortable driving position. They might look a bit bland, but that is par for the course for its age. With the design out of the way, how does the Ranger fare when it comes to practicality? Storage solutions in here are very good. The undampened glove box is of a very big size. You get a deep tray compartment in front of the gear lever, two wide and deep front cup holders, a huge multi-tier space underneath the center armrest, big door pockets, and a sunglasses holder. That's quite impressive, if not quite class leading. Get in the back and things are alright, like most other buckies actually. Knee room is very good and foot room is acceptable. There is just about enough headroom for an average sized male adult as well. The seats are a bit short though, so under thigh support is a bit limited. Storage on the other hand is excellent. The door pockets are of a good size, you get storage pockets behind each front seat and 2 cup holders integrated into the drop-down armrest. What's more, the window line is nice and low, so children will get a great view out. When it comes to the loading bay, the Ford performs really well. Not only is it a big and usable space, it can also carry up to 1,033 kilograms. That is quite a bit more than the Toyota HIGHLUX. So for all your practicality needs, the Ford ought to have you covered. Starting with driving around town, there is no denying the Ranger's big size. It feels huge from in here. Then there's the engine. Under medium to hard acceleration, it's not the most refined unit, with quite a bit of diesel clatter entering the cabin. Other than that though, the experience is really good. The high driving position gives you an excellent view out, and the turning circle isn't that wide considering this is a bucky. All-round visibility is good if you ignore rear visibility, which is poor thanks to that tailgate. The ride is quite comfortable and the automatic transmission makes piloting this thing even easier. Out on the twisties, and things aren't actually that bad considering the Ranger's construction. There is quite a bit of body roll though, and the steering is numb, so a Macan, this is not. Neither are its rivals though. Out on the open road, and the Ranger performs about as well as you would expect. Road noise and tyre roar is present, but it isn't too intrusive. The engine has excellent mid-range torque, so overtaking isn't that stressful. The Ranger is quite heavy though, so as always, plan ahead before turning on that indicator. The suspension is quite comfortable as well, especially considering that the rear axle is suspended by leaf springs. When it comes to reliability, the Ranger has middling results. There are quite a few teething problems on some models depending on model year. These problems include drive shaft damage because of gear shift cables, engines which cut out due to low fuel pressure, and side airbags which fail to deploy. These problems could have been sorted by the previous owner, so be sure that your next Ranger has a full service record, or at least records that these problems have been resolved. Turning to the Ranger's rivals, you are absolutely spoiled for choice. The most obvious rival is the Toyota HIGHLUX, which is more reliable and cheaper to run than the Ranger, but sadly, interior design isn't as roomy or technologically advanced. Then there is the VW Amarok. Great looking interior and good engines, but standard specification isn't as generous as that on the Ford. The Isuzu KB has one gem of an engine and a really well insulated cabin, but the interior design is odd and build quality isn't quite as good as that of the Ford. The Nissan Navara is another contender that has multi-link suspension at the rear, but the ride is quite doughy and it doesn't make for a great towing vehicle, at least until its facelift arrived last year. Be sure to check out all the above though. Each and every one of these are solid offerings. The Ranger has really surprised me, both in a good and a bad way. On the one hand, the ride is comfortable, it comes well equipped, and it has a good looking interior. On the other hand though, the engine is on the rough side, some of the trim hasn't really aged that well, and the infotainment system is sluggish. I can forgive it for its shortcomings though, because it's a very capable bucky that has excellent resale value and a fantastic dealer network. Well done, Ford. Thank you so much for watching another one of my videos. If you enjoyed it, please remember to give it a thumbs up. It makes a world of difference to my channel. If you haven't already, remember to subscribe and get notifications of upcoming reviews. I have loads more lined up for you guys, so stay tuned. If you own a Ranger and would like to share your experiences, please use the comment section below. I would love to hear your stories. I hope you guys have a great day. Until next time, bye.